Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Christopher and I'm here with a review of the Cloud 5 Runner, which, man, it is great. So let's just jump straight into this video and get started. As with all my reviews, or overviews, we always start off with kind of a 360-degree view talking about the materials and the design of the shoe. So let's jump in. So very first thing I want you to notice here in the very front, you've got this nice rubber toe. This is pretty standard for On shoes. If you move on here, this whole, really the side and in the front for the really where your foot is and when your toe is, it's very breathable. So this is a very thin material. Now, the way that this works and doesn't sort of feel loose on your foot, say like the Cloud 5 Coast, great shoe by the way, but very thin, is it's got something they introduced in the Cloud Rift, which this is more of a hardened material. It's not plastic, but it does keep your whole shoe stable so that your laces, which is standard lacing here, these ones are braided and they're thinner. They're not the circles, which I don't really like. These are actually really nice, and there's a little bit of the material is almost like a little bit of grip, so that way it stays tight. Now, when you move along, you get to the tongue, which is a nice thick tongue. And you're thinking, Chris, why does that matter? Well, based on the description of the shoe on the On website, they refer to this cushioning as plush. And I would absolutely agree. It's a very comfortable cushioning. But because of this design here, to keep this thinner material sort of tight around your shoe, they have to put a little bit extra thicker padding around the tongue. If not, it'll really dig into your foot. So very comfortable. The Cloud Rift was uncomfortable. This I've seen this in the Cloud Stratus and other shoes. This feels very good on your foot. Now, if we move back to your heel, you've got a pretty standard Cloud Runner, and there's other Cloud shoes that do this, but I mean, when I tell you like ultra foam, like super comfortable. Now, that may not be a big deal. You would assume that comes with any running shoe, but I will tell you, like the Cloud X, for example, has a much harder, rigid, and it would like really dig into my heel and make me bleed, and I would have to put tape on it. And I think what they're trying to do is make sure that that's not the case here, that this allows you to really have some comfort while also keeping your foot really well sealed in the shoe. I would say one of the most interesting and different things I've noticed about this shoe is the back. So you will see that it's got this sort of ridge. I don't know, it's kind of different. I don't know what the technical purpose is for this design. I think it's just really cool. But that's new. I don't know what purpose it serves. Maybe it's just to be pretty. Maybe it has some functions. If you know, let us know in the comments below. Let's move on to the profile of the shoe. When it comes to shoes, there's the original On Cloud, the thinner profile, thinner sole, and I would say this keeps the spirit of that. But unlike regular Ons, it really tapers off towards the front like a Nike shoe, like a lot of running shoes do. So I like this style personally because it's not as thick as like the Cloud Surfer or the Cloud Monster, but it does provide really solid cushioning. If we go to the bottom, on the bottom here is what's referred to as the Speedboard. So part of the CloudTech is their magic foam, and part of these, if you want to call them energy release ports, I don't know if that's what they're called, but essentially when you're landing, that energy's got to go somewhere. We don't want it going back up your legs and your back, and so we want to exit. And so that's partly why these holes exist. Obviously, if you've worn On shoes before, you know that the bottom, which is filled in here, the Speedboard basically helps as you push down, it helps you kind of push back off. But this Speedboard is actually filled in, right? The little valley has been filled in so you don't get as many rocks and acorns and all that jazz filling in your shoe. So same benefits with the sort of exhaust ports for the energy, but with all the Speedboard functionality. So I really appreciate On, if you're watching this video, I really appreciate this because I love the original On shoes, but really get frustrated picking out rocks between them. So you'll notice also the treads are a little bit more subtle. So again, stuff will probably have a harder time. The wells are not as deep. One of the things they've also introduced in things like Cloud Stratus and those shoes are these really nice rubber grip. right? So these are meant for like, I would say stable running and street running and whatnot, but they are really nice and they take on the wear over the foam. So normally when my rubber runs down, that tells me I need a new pair of shoes. And based on your running or walking gait, will determine how these sort of get worn down earlier, faster. But love this design, so welcome design. All right, let's talk a little bit about who I think this shoe is for. So I would say if you are walking, if you are running, and I would even go ahead and say if you're in the gym, with a caveat, this is probably a great shoe for you. Now listen, these are running shoes first and foremost. Let's be super clear and set that expectation. But I get asked a lot, hey, can these shoes be worn in the gym? Can I wear them for running? Can I do both? Things like the Cloud X Nova are not really meant to be a running shoe. They are definitely intended to be a gym shoe, but they don't have the cushion for running. Better cushioning than the Cloud Nova, but not as much as, say, a running shoe. I would argue that if you're looking for like sort of a multi-purpose shoe, the Cloudrunner is going to be just about the perfect shoe. It's not a super narrow shoe, so it's a little bit wider than say a regular On. It's not super wide, although they do have a wide version if you're looking for that. Or as broad or thick as say the Cloud Monster and the Cloud Surfer. This is sort of that all-around hybrid shoe that could do walking, could do running, and gym. But I want to include someone in this, folks in the office. A lot of people will buy On shoes not necessarily for active wear, but for all day standing. So if you're in like the medical or legal or some other industry where you find yourself on your feet a lot, these are a very subtle shoe. They are a running shoe, but they're not as gaudy as a big sort of obnoxious brightly colored running shoes. They're very subtle. So they've got all the comfort, but a lot more subtle. So if you're looking for that shoe, this Cloudrunner, the fifth, right? So I think it's on their 5th generation of CloudTech or whatever. This is going to be that shoe for you. So let me go ahead and give my final thoughts and sort of my impressions of the shoe. First off, I love the Cloudrunner. When they introduced this, I got my hands on an early release of it and got to do a review and then release it when the shoes actually went live. So I really felt like On's direction with this more tapered toe is a welcome one because people who wear Nike shoes or other shoes that are designed like that, maybe Brooks, are going to appreciate this. They are very similar in design language to them. So that will probably appeal to a larger audience. I like the fact that they're really well cushioned without being sort of overboard. So these are going to be my shoes. I'm recording this in December of 2024. The fact they're a little bit thinner is kind of not a good time for me to be wearing them because these are probably oriented for like warmer weather. So if you're looking for that breathable shoe, this is it. Fortunately, I'm heading into the winter, but it is South Louisiana, so it's not going to get terribly cold. But these are going to be my shoes for the next 4 to 6 months, probably hitting into the spring before I replace them. So looking forward to these. And again, they are incredibly comfortable. So if you're looking for a comfortable shoe, these are that shoe. I like the fact that they are not as thin as a regular On. I do have a slightly wider foot, but I don't necessarily want to wear the much more cushion and wider shoes that are really obvious. It's a preference for me. I'm 46. I had to think about that. I'm 46 and I'm not quite there for shoes that are obviously aimed at an older generation. I still see myself as young, vibrant, and athletic, or attempting to be athletic. So I just can't wear those bigger shoes, and I'm not a runner. And so that's just not my thing. These again are great shoes. I'm huge fans of On, and honestly, they're just a really solid shoe. This is going to be my 2nd pair of the Cloudrunner. I've had different iterations of them, and I definitely recommend them to you if you're an office worker, walking, running, potentially gym. But listen, my caveat about the gym comment, you could easily roll your ankle, so you want to be very careful with these. There are shoes that are intended for that. I would aim for those. But if you're looking for something for light workouts, not doing anything too bad when it comes to load bearing and weight bearing, these will probably be good enough. But consult with your gym or your local shoe store before you make this purchase, because I don't want you injuring yourself because I said this on a video. Anyway, we hope you enjoy this content. I want to share a few things of how you can support us. Number one, we are over 1,000 subscribers, so thank all of you who are watching and subscribing for being a part of our community. We are so thankful to have made it this far. Can't wait for the future. If you want to support our channel, you can become a channel member. Right now, we don't have any real perks per se, but we do have a base level of 99 cents a month. And that 99 cents, if a bunch of you go ahead and become channel members, will help us to continue to produce these videos, which these shoes aren't cheap. Every time I buy a pair of shoes to do a review, I'm paying out of pocket. It's a couple $100. And so if you want to help support this channel, the best thing that you can do is become a channel member. That will help us. For 99 cents, it's $1, it's 12 bucks a year. You know, one, we appreciate every cent, but it also will help us to make these videos as we are self-funded. If you enjoy this content, additionally, you can go ahead and click that like button, crush that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell to stay up to date with everything we're producing. It helps our channel grow and the YouTube algorithm know that we're a thing and people are enjoying it. Well, as always, we hope you're doing well, we hope you're staying safe, and we can't wait to see you in the next one.